What's up, everyone? Tomcat back here again. Welcome to episode 1 of Reality Lost, Surviving Fantasyland. See, we're all stuck in a Fantasyland. A lot of people are stuck in their bubble. They let the distractions and the ways things used to be cloud their mind to the way things are now. Life has changed. Everything's changed. Things you once knew aren't what you know now. So we got to understand how to survive in Fantasyland. Don't let the distractions get the better of you. Understand things are the way they are, and that's just the way it is. In order to get where you want to get to, you can't let yourself be distracted. That's the number one goal. Any distraction that keeps you off your path. Anything you see that makes you feel inferior. Everything you're told that ain't true. Well, that's other people's fantasy lands being pushed onto you. We live in a new world. Inflation, shrinkflation, the rising costs of everything. And boy, they put those distractions out there so that you don't pay attention to that. They want you more keen and interested in who's going to be president, or what this corporation's doing, or what's going on over here. See, it's don't pay attention to the right hand while the left hand is making its other moves. And a lot of people get trapped in this fantasy land. They just think that everything's okay. Even when it's falling apart around them, everything's okay. And see, real ones, that's not where you want to be. You don't want to think everything's okay when you know it's not. All the signs are here. You have people that just sit around all day waiting to collect a check and just get drunk and party, as I call them, tardy parties. They don't do anything with their lives. They have no ambition, no future. They're living in Fantasyland. And I try to make sure that nobody stays in Fantasyland, because I've seen it firsthand. I made a lot of earlier videos about that, and they didn't get much traction. And I know a lot of my earlier videos didn't get much traction, because a lot of the people that watch me and listen to me haven't seen or been through what I've been through. So you know it gets lost on people. But if I see it now, you'll see it later. You'll see these people have given up in life. They just want the freebies, the handouts. They live in a fantasy land that's going to save them. And that's all they live for. No, I'm not saying you, and I'm not saying me. But I'm saying I see it. And I'll tell you what. You don't want to be caught pants down in Fantasyland when the real world comes to town. So how do you survive Fantasyland? Well, you understand the reality of your reality. You understand that there's things that are going on to sway your mind, to try to mind control you in a way, to make you comply, to make you do the things that you don't know you don't want to do. But you hear it enough, it gets beaten into your brain that they just want you to do their work. And their work is subjective. That's anybody who doesn't have your best interest in mind. Anybody that's not for you is against you. And you just have to understand the mindset of the people that are against you. The ones who in a disaster will take advantage of you. The ones who tell you you're not good enough because you're not making a certain amount of money. That you don't keep up with the Joneses. Wear the latest, coolest clothes. Drive the best car, have the biggest homes. So that's the fantasy land that we've had instilled in ourselves our whole lives. If you don't make enough money, you're a nobody in society. If you don't have the best clothes, you're not cool. If you don't have the best car, you're not trying in life. If you don't have a big home, well, you just want it. You don't have ambition in life. Couldn't be further from the truth. But that's the fantasy land that we've been instilled since before we were born. You know, keeping up the Joneses is a problem. Because that's a distraction in itself. That's saying I have to do what this person does, look like this person, act like this person, achieve what this person did. Or else I'm no good. When if you fall for that trap, you're no good. You think these people are happy with all their debts? And they have to work constantly, round the clock. You don't want that kind of life. You don't want their kind of debts. I think you're cool if you don't have the biggest house. You don't wear the latest clothes. Don't have the best vehicle. Because so what? You're falling into the materialism. You're falling into the conformity that everybody has to do the same thing. Be a collective like that. So surviving Fantasyland is breaking away from those kind of things. The ideologies, the mindsets, the mentality that you have to have the best, be the biggest go-getter to get what you want. How much of your life are you sacrificing? You've got one life to live. Now, I work hard. I got some pretty cool stuff. But at the end of the day, what is that going to do to save me? You know, I live in a hurricane area, and we've had some major hurricanes hit. What would Gucci and Prada do to help me? Nothing but a paperweight. So surviving Fantasyland is figure out what's best for you, your life, your situation. Don't leave it up to people that aren't you. Don't try to keep up with people that you don't frankly need to be keeping up with. We're all different for a reason. And reality gets lost on ones that don't pay attention to reality. They really get stuck into this conformist mentality. Be the collective. Go to college. Get married. Have a great job. All these things. When most people can't afford to buy their first homes nowadays. But they want you to go into debt so the banks can take away everything. See, there's a lot of forces at work that we don't have control over, but we can see. If you have the eyes to see, then you can see through the trick. It's all a trick. It's all about trying to make you do things just like everybody else. And look what happens to everybody else. See, reality is lost. Because we're surviving in Fantasyland. There's always a bubble waiting to get popped. And if it's your bubble, do you think anybody's going to come round and help you out? Think about that. We're on our own out here, real ones. Go and max out credit cards. Pull in all kinds of loans, debts. Try to build a life so you can be like everybody else. And then the banks and all come and take that shit away. Now what you got but a wet ass and a huge billing statement. Take you to collections. Now your credit's fucked. You're fucked. You may be living out of a vehicle or a tent. These are the things people don't say. They want everybody to be a conformist. See, it is the collective. It's like the Borg. Everybody wants to be like everybody else. Once you break away from that and you survive Fantasyland, and you understand, you can shop at Salvation Army and Goodwill. You could buy a 20-year-old vehicle. You could buy some property and just put a shed on there. A mobile home. Whatever. Owning for yourself. Making your money work for you. Making your investments in your life work for you is how you break out of Fantasyland. See, gambling, crypto. Yeah, I've done all that stuff. I still got crypto. But you know what? That doesn't mean that you're going to retire early. You know, a lot of us are not going to retire ever until we get, like we end up dead or something, you know? I don't know. We work every day for the rest of our lives at something. And for what? If life truly is for living, and you have one life, then I don't understand why people can't understand to do with that one life what you can. You know, it's funny to me and it never gets old. We live in a total fantasy land. A matrix of fantasy. Where if you're the good boy or good girl, and you comply and do the things that the powers that be tell you to do, you can get your milk bone at the end of the day. You can get a can of soup, you can get some ramen, you're good. But if you break out of it, and you survive Fantasyland, and you see the trick for what it is, nothing but a dirty trick, and you use the advantages of the knowledge that you've gained to your advantage and not to your detriment, you're going to survive Fantasyland. Look, life is hard. There's so much going on and thrown at us at one time every single day, and it mounts every week. You need to decide for yourself is what options are best for you. Fuck the collective. Doesn't matter what little Joey down the street. It doesn't matter what Susie Suckoff's doing behind the Home Depot. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing for you and yours. We can't live in this bubble, in this fantasy land anymore. That someone's going to save us. Someone's going to come and make everything okay. That's what people said about Donald Trump. Oh, he's going to save us. You know, I don't get political on my channel. I don't get into a lot of stuff. But Trump ain't coming to save you. A lot of your friends and family aren't going to come and save you. A lot of people in your community are not going to come and save you. That's a fantasy land. Who's going to save you is you. And the connections that you make in your life. Trying to come up with a better way than the way we've been going. Because I've lost a lot of friends who took themselves out. Because they couldn't survive Fantasyland. They believed all the lies they were told and what everybody said. Everything's going to be okay. Work harder, work smarter. Try to be like everybody else. Gain the right connections. The shit never ends on what people say. You stay true to you is how you break out of Fantasyland. When reality is not lost on you, you've created your own reality. Then you don't live in a bubble. And that's the goal. You don't live in a bubble, you live in a fortress. And you design your fortress by the moves you make, by the way you think, by doing your part and not being the same as everybody else. Because setting yourself up for failure is easy. It's been done, it's going to be done, it's never going to end. So if you want to survive Fantasyland, you cannot live in a bubble. Don't try to be cool. Don't try to be braggadocious. Don't try to be like everybody else. Submit to what other people say is right. Only you in your heart knows what's right. So to survive Fantasyland, all you gotta do is make your fantasies into a reality, not someone else's definition of how you live your life and what you do. You take on your own meaning, your own definition, your own path. And if people like it or hate it, so what? Don't appease people based on their visions of you. So what if you don't make a lot of money? So what if you don't have the best vehicle, house, clothes? So what? Don't be shallow and naive enough to fall for that game. Don't bait the trap. Because when you bait the trap, you're letting other people push their definition of how successful and how good of a person you are. I always said I'm not a nice guy. I'm a good guy. But I'm neutral. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me. I never have, never will. That's why I survive Fantasyland, because I don't care. You really need to have the attitude to not care nowadays. Because as soon as you care what people are saying about you, they got power over you. And there's nothing worse than somebody having power over you. You need your own personal power. And you get that by doing what makes you happy, what's right for you, and don't care about what the collective or other people say. So if you want to survive Fantasyland, you have to get out of the fantasy and live in your own land. And that's what's up from the cat, so I love you guys. Stay strong, stay positive. Come up with a plan, make it a damn good plan. Have a damn good backup plan. Have a damn good safety net plan. Have a damn good plan of any kind. And I love you all. Second podcast. Why? Hell, I don't know. But I'm trying different things because I don't live in Fantasyland. Nobody tells me what to do. Fuck them. I tell myself what to do. And if I rise or if I fall or I stay the same, that's on me. I did it for myself. And that's how you break out of Fantasyland. So I love you guys. And we'll see you in the new future for more, baby. Tomcat out.